And the suspense is killing me. It is indeed a tails. Chris, you get the first pick.
Well, look at what we have
Phil
here.
Phil Simms in Super Bowl. No, I know what it's going to be. It's going to be Jeff Hostetler in Super Bowl 25.
He
That's
was horrible. If Phil Simms played in that game, they would have won by 30. No. No, Jeff Hostetler played very well in that game, of course. Okay, I'm going to go.
Even with shaving cream in his cleats.
I'm going to go right off the bat, and it hurts me to say, okay, because I really like this guy, and he was a teammate of mine at one point, but this was one of the worst performances I've seen, and it's not only because of this player. The defense he played was amazing, but I'm going to go with Carrie Collins in Super Bowl 34, the one against the great Baltimore Ravens defense. Carrie Collins that day was 15 for 39, 112 yards, and 4 interceptions. Now, we know that was a special defense, but that was a rough day in a Super Bowl where, you know, again, the Giants were not the better team. The Giants came out, and this doesn't all go on Kerry Collins either. I feel like they came out thinking they were going to throw the ball all over the lot, just like they did against your Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship that year, where they won 41-0. And were a little bit maybe arrogant in their approach to just say, oh, we don't care. We can throw it and move the ball against anybody. And obviously, they should have played a different style of game that day, trying to throw the ball too much. Ray Lewis, MVP. But Kerry Collins certainly struggled that day against one of the greatest defenses we've ever seen.
Well, first of all, we have a disqualification right out of the gates because Kerry Collins did not play in Super Bowl 34. He played in Super Bowl 35.
Oh, I was one
Super
off.
Bowl 30.
Right.
Yeah, but hey, no, that's it. It's over. You're done. Your first pick, you won the toss. You get the first pick, and you screw up the number. I know Roman numerals are difficult to discern, but it was 35. All right, I'm going to go 2 Super Bowls further, and I thought you were going in this direction because I think by far the worst performance of any quarterback in any Super Bowl came from the guy that your former coach, John Gruden, turned into an MVP. But then he got a chance to face him in Super Bowl 37. He knew all the calls, all the audibles. John Gruden actually jumped in and played scout team quarterback.
That's right.
So they could hear how Rich Gannon did his cadence. The end result, not 1, not 2, not 3, 5 interceptions for Rich Gannon. 3 of them were returned for touchdowns. Dwight Smith should have been the MVP of that game, but again, they vote on the MVP with 5 minutes left. If they would have waited until the end, Dwight Smith, who had 2 pick sixes in that game, would have been the MVP, should have been the MVP. The LVP, Rich Gannon, worst performance ever for any quarterback in the Super Bowl with those 5 interceptions.
Yeah, that was definitely a tough day at the office for Rich Gannon. I still just don't even understand, like, what the hell the Oakland Raiders were thinking in that matchup. I mean, did they really?
Hey, speaking of games being thrown, you know what Tim Brown said a few years ago?
What?
He said Bill Callahan threw it. Bill Callahan threw the game for his friend John Gruden.
I mean, it's one of the more insane things really in the history of football. The guy who invented your offense and gave this team all their checks in the Oakland Raiders when John Gruden was coaching that team, they go the next year and have to play that guy in the Super Bowl, and they don't change their checks or anything about it and just stay status quo. Did they really think John Gruden wasn't going to tell Warren Sapp and Simeon Rice and Dwight Smith and Rondé Barber and Derek Brooks what the hell the checks were? Like, that is one of the all-time, like, my brain blows up emoji of ever in the history of the sport. I don't understand what the hell they talk about self-scouting yourself. Yeah, self-scout yourself extra when the damn team, your offense is put in by the other team's head coach. I will never understand that. All right, I'm going to take a I know you might go a little old school, so I'm staying a little bit more recent for now. I'm going to go with a winning Super Bowl quarterback, okay? I'm going to go with Big Ben Roethlisberger. Okay, and Super Bowl, what was that, Super Bowl 40? I'm just calling these by my top of my head. That's why I keep messing them up. Super Bowl 40, though, in my lifetime, I think that was one of the worst performances I saw out of the quarterback position. Crazy that they got the win. Shows you it's a team sport. But Big Ben that day, 9 for 21, 123 yards, and 2 interceptions. and tons of errant passes and errant throws. If you're watching on TV, you see a wobbler that he throws up at the jump ball that gets intercepted. They were getting close to scoring on another opportunity, and he threw a ball that was almost a pick six. He was all over the place that day. He was flustered. He did not play well. The best throw of the day by a Pittsburgh Steeler was by Antoine Randall L. in the touchdown pass he threw in the reverse pass to Hines Ward. But that was pretty pitiful by Big Ben.
Roethlisberger did have a rushing touchdown that day, but it was a controversial one that should have
Right.
been overturned on replay review, and it wasn't, or it wasn't ruled a touchdown on the field, and it was on replay review. Whatever it was, they screwed it up. It didn't look like a touchdown, but he did have that going for him. All right, I am going to go old school. I'm going to go back to Super Bowl XII, and I remember the 1977 season very vividly. It was the Orange Crush year. That was a year that the Denver Broncos emerged as a power, and they toppled the Raiders, and they got to the Super Bowl, and they faced the Cowboys in the Superdome. And Craig Morton, the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos, had 4 completions and 4 interceptions. A passer rating of 0.0 in the Super Bowl. The Cowboys won 27-10, but it felt a lot worse than that. I mean, really, that was the last of the 70s Super Bowl smotherings that this most recent Super Bowl kind of reminded me of. From Super Bowl III to IV to VI, VII, VIII, IX, X, and XII, all felt like smotherings. Not 10, but 11. And this was the last one when the Cowboys just completely dominated the Broncos offense and picked off Craig Morton as many times as he completed passes to the guys in the orange jerseys.
Yeah, that was certainly an ugly performance. Roger Staubach, that was Roger's second Super Bowl that he got to win there. And that also, that was a game where we saw that deep touchdown pass that Roger Staubach threw where the receiver kind of fell in the end zone and lost the ball just as he went in the end zone, where I want to go, man, maybe we should replay that game too. I'm not sure he would have caught that ball in current environment. I know, I'm just being funny.
It was Butch Johnson.
That's what
and actually, Shireen Williams and I were talking about that because she was a big Cowboys fan growing up. Preston Pearson is actually the guy who threw that pass. It was a gadget play. It wasn't Staubach.
That's right. I totally forgot that was a gadget play. Okay, so now, man, there's some good ones to choose from here. But I think I'm going to go somewhere that, hits home for you. I'm going to take you back to Super Bowl IX. Oh, the Minnesota Vikings. Yes, this will have been their third Super Bowl loss in 5 years, as a little young Mike Florio was going, "Go Vikings, go Fran Tarkenton, woohoo!"
It's Tarkenton, but that's all right.
So either way, you were young, you couldn't talk that well at that time, so I was just imitating you.
I was 10, I was 9.
But Fran Tarkenton, Super Bowl IX. It is the great Steelers steel curtain defense. I get that, but 11 for 26, 102 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. If you're watching on TV here, you see one of his receivers getting killed over the middle and the ball popping in the air. But yes, that was a rough day at the office. I've only seen highlights, of course. It's not like I went back and watched the game film, but I know that he was running around a lot and throwing the ball into a lot of coverage. And sorry, Mike, sorry you had to deal with that as a young kid.
That game was 2-0 at the half, and it still is the lowest scoring Super Bowl through the first 30 minutes. This year, though, it was 3-0 at the half, and 16-6 was the final. 13-3 this year. There are some, and the Vikings would have been shut out. There were several games early on in Super Bowl history that would have been shutouts, but for fluky plays. 7 would have been a shutout, but for that Garo Yepremian. Remember that
right.
debacle there?
Right.
And a block punt by the Vikings in the fourth quarter, where it would have been 16-0. And they could have played another 8 quarters. The Vikings would have never gotten anything going offensively. They just didn't have it, as you said in Super Bowl 53. It wasn't. Well, no, it was the players, not the scheme.
Right.
It was huge guys. The Steelers up front could dominate the Vikings defensive line. They were small and fast. And against the Dolphins in 8 and against the Steelers in 9, they just couldn't stop the running game. Larry Zonka ran all over him one year, and Franco Harris the next year.
Yep.
All right, my last one. Boy, I hate to do this because he was on our set last week. He came over and said hi to us. He was nice to us. But he wasn't very nice to Eagles fans during Super Bowl 15. Ron Jaworski.
Jaws.
The guy whose film habits you try to mimic, and you also mimicked his quarterback habits, at least in this game. 3 interceptions thrown by Ron Jaworski in Super Bowl 15. all to the same guy. And it wasn't a defensive back. It was Rod Martin, West Virginia native Rod Martin, a linebacker. After the first one, maybe you don't throw it in his direction. The second one, after two, you definitely don't throw the ball anywhere close to Rod Martin. 3 interceptions in what I thought was going to be a great Super Bowl, but from the moment Kenny King took a swing pass 80 yards, I knew that the Eagles were in for a long day. So, sorry, Jaws, but you got him there, but it didn't happen once they got there.
The old Polish rifle, as they used to call him, Jaworski, did not have his best day. And I know he had a great year that year, and, of course, he had a great career. But, yeah, that was one where I think he was Ron Jaworski, and he didn't go and watch that film because that wasn't fun to watch. Who else? Who else did you have on your list? Like, I almost went with Boomer Esiason in Super Bowl XXIII. I thought about that just because he was the MVP of football that year.
Tony Eason.
They almost won the game. Tony Eason was horrible. He's the only starting quarterback to never complete a pass in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was another one. I felt bad almost about him and Carrie Collins just because I felt like their offenses were so outmatched. It wasn't even fair. But anyways, I threw my buddy Kerry under the bus regardless.
Well, and speaking of self-scouting thyself, I thought of Joe Theismann in Super Bowl XVIII because there was that play at the end of the half where Jack Squirick read what was coming because Washington had played the Raiders during the regular season. And at the end of the half, remember Joe Washington? He wore like actual glasses on the field.
The big screen.
Big black frames.
Right.
Yeah. And they had the screen.
Right.
And it popped. And they tried it again at the end of the half. Same circumstance. They tried the same play. Jack Squirick saw it coming. That was on the cover of Sports Illustrated after that Super Bowl. Squirick picks it off, and that was the dagger. Game was over at halftime. And it's all, look, it's on the play caller, but back in those days, the quarterback, I think, had a little more influence than he does today. He wasn't just a character in the Madden game. He actually had more discretion to exercise. Theismann should have known what was happening, and he should have not thrown that pass. So that was another one I was thinking of.
Yep.
All right, let's recap and take a break. The picks from Chris Simms: Kerry Collins in Super Bowl 35, Ben Roethlisberger in 40, Fran Tarkenton in Super Bowl IX. I had Rich Gannon in 37, Craig Morton in 12, and Jaws Ron Jaworski in Super Bowl 15.
Pretty sure I won. Right,
Twitter. No, because you got Kerry Collins in the wrong Super Bowl. You are disqualified. I win. Stats, what do you think? We got to go.
I got to give it to Mike. Rich Gannon threw 3 pick sixes. To me, that's huge. That's dagger.
Screw you, Stats.
All right,
get out of here.
We'll wrap up. Well, I like you today, Stats.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.